Fernando Ruiz art.
Hi everybody, it's Jughead. That is a Jughead piece that I did for, it was a demo using chart pack markers that I did for one of my classes at the Kubert School this week. And Jughead there, he's about 9 by 12 on Bristol, and he's colored entirely in chart packs, but with a little Copic marker for those accents on his face. And here's another headshot. This one is Archie, of course, that I did in another one of my classes. This was another demo in Copics. In chart pack markers. And he's done entirely in chart packs with a few Copics for, again, the accents on the face, and I think maybe for his freckles too. Okay, so let's put those aside, and we have blank paper. Today we're going to continue the studies of the face, and I have promised to do the dreaded upshot. And I say dreaded because the upshot is one of those difficult angles. The upshot on the face is one of those difficult angles that a lot of people have problems with. Just center. So hopefully as we go through it, we'll look for ways to make it a little simpler. First thing I'm doing, as with my other angles, is I'm starting with an oval. Nice. And I'm actually, if you're watching, you may be noticing I'm going a little darker with the oval than I normally would if I was just drawing this not for video. I'd go lighter. I'd go as light as I needed to, and really I only need to get as dark as I need it to work on, because at this stage, this is what we call the underdrawing. Nobody really sees this, so it's just for you, the artist. Okay, so I have my oval. I'm more or less happy with it. And I'm going to add my grid. Now, much of the grid that I'm adding is very similar to grids we've done from other views. For example, the first thing I want to do is divide my oval in half vertically, right down the middle. The two halves that I just created, I want to divide them in half, vertically as well. And as usual, when I say a half, I'm not breaking out a ruler here. I'm just kind of guesstimating. I'm kind of eyeballing it. We don't need to be that mathematical about it because it's not going to matter. Okay, so I have my vertical lines in place. Now what I want to do, here's the tricky one. If I were doing a normal straight-on view, I would be adding a horizontal line that would cut my oval in half horizontally, right through the center. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the middle, and I'm going to curve up. I'm going to curve up, over, and then end at the middle. Okay? And I'm doing that. Now, how much of a curve I give this depends totally on your upshot, on the severity of your upshot. And there are many degrees to an upshot. You could have a head that is slightly tilted upward, and that's still an upshot. You can also have a head that is totally looking straight up at the sky, and that's an upshot too. And everything in between, that's all an upshot. So it's going to be up to you to decide how much of a curve you want to give this. Again, if it's a slight upshot, that the head is just tilted back a little, you may just want to curve this very slightly. If the head is looking all the way up at the sky, then you may want to push this more. It's going to be up to you. And I know I said this in a recent video. When you first try this, there's probably going to be a good deal of trial and error. You're probably going to make a few mistakes here. Anytime your judgment comes into play, you could make a mistake, and that's just natural. Now what I want to do is go from that midway point that I just marked off And directly below the midway point and the lowermost tip of this oval, I'm going to go right in the middle. And again, normally I would be going straight across, but I want to tilt upward, much like I did with the line that I just drew, okay? And then I want to go right in between that starting point that I just started from, okay? And again, the bottom of my oval, go right in the middle, and again, curve upwards. So I was saying, the more you do this, the more your accuracy, your sensitivity to how much of a curve you should give these lines, the more that sense is going to sharpen. At the beginning, there's going to be a lot of guesswork, and you're going to make things. You're probably going to make a few bad choices, and that's the thing. Anytime our judgment comes into play in a drawing, that's where we could go wrong, because it's our judgment. It's not a mathematical formula. But the more we do this, the more we practice, the more we can trust our judgment. Okay, so now my grid is in place. My grid is in place. It's looking upwards. I'm even going to put this on a neck here, skipping ahead a little bit. Okay. So what I'm going to do is this first line, of course, is what we call the eye line. And I'm going to follow that line to that first intersection. And that's where my first eye is going to go. Now, don't make the mistake some people make of having that eye just follow the curved line. This is just for placement, this intersection. The eye will be slightly curved because since we're looking up at it, what's happening is the cheek will cut into the shape of the eye. So rather than drawing that oval that we normally would for the eye, what we're really drawing is more of this crescent shape. So that's what I'm adding here. Then I'm going to go skip that middle intersection, and at that third intersection, I'm going to add the other eye. Okay? Now sometimes, and I didn't do it this time, but because I wanted to do this in the proper order, but sometimes I will actually skip ahead and do the nose. And the nose line, that's the next line we're doing. And we follow that line to this middle intersection. And keep in mind, we're seeing the underside of the nose. And a lot of the nose is going to depend on the particular nose that you're drawing. Okay, so we're seeing the nostrils. We're looking right up the nostrils. We may be obscuring the bridge of the nose a little bit. So we might not see the bridge or the sides of the bridge. It's the philtrum. That's that divot below your nose and above your lip. It's called the philtrum. Okay, next is the mouth. And I'm going to follow that mouth line right below the eye, okay, that first intersection. This is where the mouth is going to start, and it's going to curve up. It's going to dip down, dip up again. Then it's going to curve down to that third intersection. And this is where the upper lip meets the lower lip, and then the lower lip. I'm going to be doing a video on mouths, just because there's a lot to say on mouths. So that's another one that's going to be coming up. Maybe not this week, but coming up. I still need to cover noses too. Okay, so I have my features in place. So let's really turn this into an upshot. Well, let me give this guy ears. I said before, sometimes I jump ahead and start with the nose, and that's because the nose is so prominent. Sometimes it could really dictate what's happening around it. I didn't do it this time, but it's an option you may want to keep in mind. Now I'm shaping the head a little bit. Now here's where we really sell the upshot, the jawline. I'm gonna go in with my eraser, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of what we have here because I want this to be a little cleaner. Okay, just so we could really see things. Sometimes when you see people drawing this upshot, what you see is they go in and they trace this jawline, and you get this head that kind of looks like a puppet or a mannequin. And to me, that always just seems very artificial. So I don't do that. Now we do have below your mandible, your jawline does create a plane underneath your head. But I don't like to draw it so artificially. What I like to do is I like to start that jawline, and I may pick it up here, pick it up there, do part of the sternomastoid, maybe an Adam's apple, the other sternomastoid, and that's about it. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of tricking the eye into seeing that plane without actually overly delineating it, okay? And sometimes, again, because light tends to travel from above, in most cases, sometimes we may be lucky enough that that whole zone is going to be in a nice convenient shadow, which can hide many sins, and even the nose might catch up some of that shadow. I may also do a video on shadows. I think a lot of people always are interested in shadows, and shadows, of course, can do a lot for your drawings. But there we have our upshot. Again, this is the tricky area. This is the part where a lot of people will go wrong the most. So that's the part, but really you can really simplify that. It's not as complicated as a lot of people make it out to be. I hope this helps what we talked about here. As usual, if you have any questions, anything you guys are wondering about, comments, suggestions, please always post them below. That's the headshot, and this is just 1 degree of the headshot. Again, we can play with our ovals and have headshots which are much slighter, upshots rather, that are much slighter, where the grid is only slightly rolling up, or we could have grids that are really rolling up a lot. It depends on what you want. Okay, so that does it for this one. I hope this helps. Again, any questions below, any thoughts, suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. I hope if you enjoyed this, please click the like button. I hope if you haven't done so, you'll subscribe, share, let other people know about the channel and this video, and get the word out. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you tuning in. More videos are on the way, so, and make sure you hit that bell. All right, everybody, thanks a lot, and I will see you next time.